Welcome, YouTube followers. This is Gary Campbell with Tobias A. Fox,
Peace.
man of many hats. Tobias, tell us about some of your hats, all those hats you have.
I'm a writer, a
One,
publisher,
two,
editor.
three,
Um, I'm a healthcare organizer.
four.
Um, I am
This is the artist, y'all.
I am a founder and managing director of Newark Science and Sustainability,
Wow.
and I'm also a certified application counselor for the marketplace, where I help educate or provide healthcare education and healthcare enrollment through Medicaid and through the marketplace, aka Obamacare.
Nice, nice. And you're also a farmer.
Oh yeah, I can't forget that I am a master gardener. I choose
He
master
can't.
gardener.
He can't forget that. I am a master gardener. All right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So tell us how you started. Because this series, the artist recreates the world, likes to bring together the artists to show people the various arms and branches and how we start.
Yeah, so basically, I just take you back from my upbringing, if you will, kind of introduce to you where my love for the arts came into place. So basically, my mother and father had four boys. I'm the second of the oldest. We were born a year apart, and about when I was about 5 or 6, my parents had a violent breakup. A lot of alcohol misuse was in play, and my father attempted to take my mother's life. And my father, who was a painter and a brick mason at that time, um, luckily he had 7 other siblings, and they were trying to separate us. We'll take one, we'll take the other. But my father's oldest sister and her husband said, no, don't. Well, it was really his sister who said, don't split them up. We'll take all of them. And they had a 3-story house in East Orange. I was born in Newark, grew up in East Orange. The only thing about that was that they took us 4 in, but they were also raising 10 children of their own.
Wow.
So 16 of us growing up in the house. A lot of vocalists, instrument playing, a lot of the arts were definitely prevalent in that upbringing, but a lot of poverty as well. So I experienced every issue related to poverty you can think of. So coming from that background, the arts, religion, and poverty pretty much shaped a lot of my philosophy today.
So how did you? You were telling me yesterday. We talked for a minute. You were telling me how your company came out of the Occupy movement.
Yeah, so my educational background, again, it falls well. My educational background is it falls within filmmaking, creative writing, English, book publishing, um, and this is with between 3 different schools: Essex County College, Montclair State University, and the City College of New York. And I was heavily involved in book publishing, screenwriting, heavily involved in those fields, and for about 10 years actually.
Wow.
And I had established a book publishing company with who was a college professor at the time of mine. Him and I became friends and business partners. Terry W. Benjamin. He's an adjunct professor at Essex County College, Union County College now. But he and I started this publishing company together, in-house publishing. And it was going great for about 10 years. And then it just started to fall apart. I was getting really burnt out by it because I was doing a lot of editing.
Was that when the industry changed?
Yeah, it was when the industry changed. So it was a lot of, especially within Black or African American literature, um, urban fiction started to dominate the scene in that genre.
So you had to chase those dollars. It was harder to chase.
Yeah, it was harder to chase the dollars, and I was moving. I felt myself moving further and further away from the artistry that that I really enjoy, which is really creative nonfiction, the thrillers and stuff like that. And started going through some financial hardship, and someone informed me, someone I was dating at the time informed me about this movement going on in New York, and about a group of people who had marched down on Wall Street, and then they took over a park, or beginning occupying the park, and they had no intentions on leaving this space. And at that time, I thought, uh, the whole marching and protesting, I thought that had become obsolete. I thought it was pointless.
Right, right.
I thought it should have stayed in the 60s. That was my thinking.
That it was no longer relevant.
It was no longer relevant, right? And then after a few days of hearing the media downplay what was going on, I decided, because I had the time, I decided to go over and find out for myself, what was going on. Yeah, so I'm living in Newark, and it was only a train ride over to World Trade Center and several blocks over to Zuccotti Park or Liberty Square Park to find out what was going on. And when I got there, this was October 2011, I was completely blown away. It was an epiphany for me, because the diversity was people from all over the world there, for one, in a small space. And in a matter of 2 weeks, the organizers of this social movement, they managed to develop the social systems needed for a human society to exist. They had a people's kitchen, and they weren't just feeding finger foods and snacks. They were feeding people square full meals throughout the day. And they were so organized with it, because if you were a vegan, you were lying on this side. If you were a vegan or a vegetarian, you'd be on this side of the kitchen, and all others on the other side of the kitchen. And they didn't ask, what's your poverty level? Are you homeless? Those wasn't qualifications to get a meal. It's just that the food is here, it's available, and food actually is a social act. So it allowed people to congregate and express their grievances, share their ideas, and actually bond with one another. And then they had a media station where they were shooting out the social media. They had a people's library where people can go up. You didn't show any identification or anything like that to check out a book. And they even had a medic station. So it was just a comfort station. I was standing there one day, and I remember this guy walking up saying, I just hitchhiked from Washington, the state. And he was like, where can I go? What can I do? And they was pointing him in each direction here, So I was blown away by this. And it allowed me to start.
Something you never saw before.
I never saw it before. I never witnessed anything like this in my life, ever.
I never have either.
Yeah, and for people to project their perspectives about this without having to having actually experienced it, it's hard for me to have
paint the picture for us.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really, because it's like you had to be there.
And it's totally opposite to what mass culture places before us.
Yeah.
Especially if we've seen it 10 or 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, and then we see this, because mass culture is always telling us, well, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Or we can't do this.
Exactly.
Or we can't meet this need.
Yeah.
Or you got to do it this way.
Yes.
It's all this bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear. So it was really.
Yeah. So what really captured my attention was that there was no exchange of money.
Oh.
There was no exchange of money. So people were getting fed. They were getting clothing, medical attention. They were getting literature. They was getting the arts, culture. They had drum circles going in. At one point it was nonstop. But no exchange of money.
So it sounds like this was an opportunity that they went back to the artisan community, mm-hmm. back to indigenous sciences, how we used to live.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Because you were really, you're trading information, you're trading skills, and that was it for the most part. And then I learned about, and that was at the park. But then I learned about another group of people that were meeting outside of the park in a different location. And they were coming together around certain topics that interest them. And they were called working groups. So these people who respected the symbolism of occupying public space, and they respected the whole, public demonstrations, but they were more interested in collectively working together on creating tangible solutions. And I got gravitated to that type of organizing, right? And then I started meeting local growers, people who were like rural farmers and urban farmers. I started meeting technicians, people who are creating electricity from pedal bikes, solar technology, and then I heard about a small group of people who had just started Occupy Newark. And it's funny because we're sitting here talking in Military Park, which has transformed tremendously since
Sure
2011.
has,
But this was the
We are met.
yeah, this is where the encampment for Occupy Newark, you know. And you know, we had tents here, and we were stationed here. We received about $10,000 donations from monetary donations from Occupy Wall Street to help make this a more sustainable.
I remember
encampment.
hearing about that.
Yeah, so I was one of the proposal writers. Myself and another gentleman, we collaborated on creating a proposal, and we submitted that to Occupy Wall Street. And then, so that kind of, so when I heard about this movement going on in Newark, I immediately stopped over and says, hey, this is my background, this is what I can offer, I would love to be able to help. And then I emerged myself as a leader within Occupy Newark from my organizational skills, especially that stemmed from 10 years in book publishing.
Right, and all the other hats.
And so all the other hats began to develop within that movement because then I started organizing groups around different social issues or socioeconomic issues, and people started noticing my skill sets and started recommending me for other career opportunities and job opportunities. You know, that's what led me into becoming a healthcare organizer. But so from there, I met this guy named Damien Descares, who's a Newark resident, good friend of mine. He's an electrical engineer, solar technician. He heard about us receiving this monetary donation, and he came and said, look, for a fraction of that money, I can show you guys how to make solar panels from soda cans.
Wow.
And I was turned on, you know, and I says, yes, let's do it. But I couldn't convince the larger group to buy into this experiment. And because I thought it was definitely needed because we were using the electricity from the lamp posts, and the mayor at that time, Mayor Cory Booker, he was, as long as other mayors in other cities across the country, were using that as a means as justification to evict us from the park. So what I started to do is develop a working group within Occupy Newark. It was Newark Science and Sustainability. Or it wasn't Newark, actually. It was Science and Sustainability Working Group. So yes, and which is the acronym SAS came from. And so it was a working group within a social movement.
I love that.
Yeah. And so I was organizing with other, local activists or organizers who were highly interested in the whole sustainability concept. And so we just started organizing small events, community events. You know, let's organize a trip to an urban farm. Let's organize a trip, or not necessarily a trip, but let's organize a free solar technology workshop where Damien was the facilitator.
Just provide information to people. Let people be exposed to the direction we have the ability to go into.
Exactly. And then we heard about the city's Adopt a Lot program. So we decided to get into that, where we adopted a vacant lot and turned that vacant lot into a community garden, where we increased the residents' access in a particular neighborhood to locally grown fresh produce. You know, so we started getting recognition for these little small projects, and then someone says, Tobias, you should develop this into a nonprofit, so you can start getting some funding.
Right.
And at this time, the encampment, the whole Occupy movement, was becoming dissolved in all cities, and it was no longer here at Military Park or in Newark, but we still had the energy, and we still had science and sustainability.
And your connections.
Yes, going on, right? So I was like the last and most active group coming out of the movement, the social movement that occurred here in Newark through Occupy. So then I decided to seriously think about how I wanted to develop this. And I started, listening to some of the teachings, and I still do, of people like Jacques Fresco, who founded the Venus Project.
Mm.
Started looking at the philosophy behind other social groups, and also Peter Joseph, especially Peter Joseph, founder of the Zeitgeist movement. And then other people started influencing me, and I said, well, how can I localize this? Because they were talking more on a global.
But you wanted to shape it within your own context.
Yes, and that's important. So, and I knew that from our perspective, education should be visual and hands-on. I honestly believe that the future of education will become visual and hands-on. Because
You're absolutely
why?
right. Yeah.
Because we process information from our perspective. So this one-size-fits-all classroom setting that they have will become dismantled, as it is beginning to become dismantled.
It's true.
But definitely in the future, we will realize and come to see the benefit, the true benefit from having education as visualized as possible and hands-on as possible. So, but I also wanted to have Newark Science and Sustainability, or Newark SAS, or Newark SAS, as some people call it. I wanted to be founded not only on education, hands-on education, visual education, but also on the foundation of social psychology.
Yes.
Because social psychology teaches us that environment has a direct influence on our behavior. And so you can't separate the individual from his or her environment.
Right.
It goes hand in hand. And social psychology teaches us that, why that is so important and relevant. What conditions or behaviors comes out of poverty, and what conditions and behaviors come out of a more affluent environment. So these are things that needs to be studied, analyzed, and we need to put theory into practice.
Right.
Yeah. So we're all about putting theory into practice. So we decided to just, as I was collaborating with local professionals and everything, decided to stress that Newark Science and Sustainability, Newark SAS or Newark SAS, advocate for the incorporation of science into the fabric of our social life. And we're not just an advocacy group, but we put theory into practice. So we started developing programs. And the programs we develop, believe it or not, the programs we develop are not some theoretical programs or some theories that we've got from the internet. But these are individuals that I've met. And I says, wow, these are some great skills you have, but it does no good to our community for you and you alone to have these skills.
Right.
So let's develop some programs around your skills where you can share that knowledge. That knowledge becomes shared, and we pass it along. Right? So then we started developing programs around clean renewable energy, specifically solar, wind, pedal bike technology, battery packs, because we're not only interested in creating electricity, but we're also interested in storing it. How do we store it so we can use it at a later time? So for people who are on the grid, if you will, they will, in years to come, have the option to sell that electricity back, or share that energy with someone else, or save it for themselves. And then so
options that we don't have now.
Options
that most people
most of us don't have those options. Right. Yeah, most of us, maybe 1% of us have those options.
Don't even have the knowledge.
Yeah, or the knowledge, especially in urban communities. We definitely don't have that because it's not shared knowledge. So, for instance, when we see the solar panels on the light poles and the ticket meters, we have no connection to that technology. None. The average person has no connection to it because it doesn't serve their purpose. It doesn't save them anything. It's good for either the city or the corporation.
It's only functional for these other entities, but it doesn't touch the individual.
Exactly. So because of that, we're not connected to it. There's no connection to it. So that's one of the reasons why we try to make our presentations public and have demonstrations of how things work.
I saw the interview on the electricity with the kids doing the bicycle.
That's right. So they get on so that's one of the things that we have is a pedal bike powered smoothie bar, where a person get on a bicycle, they pedal that bicycle, that generates electricity. That electricity is stored into battery packs We plug in blenders into the battery packs where we are able to make smoothies. So they get wellness from riding a bicycle, they get nutrition education from the smoothies, and they get to engage with the use of clean renewable energy. Right? And then another thing we do is eco art. But my girlfriend, who helped me develop this eco art program, she's not only a visual artist, but she's an art therapist as well. And so we're pretty much aligned and share similar values when it comes to being hands-on and environment shaping behavior, or having a direct influence on behavior.
And it makes sense that the artist would fit in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because although you're talking about titles that don't seem related to art, but the technology is really art. When we talk about the solar panels,
mm-hmm.
that's art in terms of touching and transferring this sun into energy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very innovative. When you can transform natural energy into energy that can be used by an individual, or a group of individuals. So what we do is, in the eco art, we introduce the concept of transforming, and also I can't forget visual artist Maggie Brown, who's a Newark resident who works with me on this as well. But what we do is we transform natural and recycled materials into art. And we also, through that process, it becomes very therapeutic.
Yes.
And it also helps people connect more with their environment.
Right. Understands their environment and their surroundings and the importance of the metal and of the paper, mm-hmm. and how it can be recycled for use in your environment.
Absolutely.
And cost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I often say, I think I've heard somebody say this, that a lot of our kids, they don't understand that a tomato doesn't come from ShopRite or Pathmark.
Oh, and that's one of the key components for our horticulture program, is that we help people understand plant science, plant management, and food distribution. And also in this environment, we, underneath the surface of this program, we also incorporate the concept of social psychology, and this is how we do it. We first of all, we let people know that food grows in abundance. It grows.
Say that again. Yeah. Say that again and again and again.
Yeah. And we show them how that's possible, right? So we take one seed that fits on the tip of your finger. One seed that fits on the tip of your finger. Let's say a tomato seed. We plant that tomato seed. That one tomato seed that was fitting on the tip of your finger.
And we're gonna put the tip on this because this little part right here he's talking about now, we're gonna run over and over.
Yeah, because that one seed gets planted and produces a plant, a tomato plant. And that tomato plant produces pounds of tomatoes.
He said pounds.
Pounds
and I have to back up. I have to say, this is a master gardener. But I consider the gardener an artist.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The artist is the one that puts his hand into the dirt.
Absolutely.
Which is wonderful, and understands the creation of earth and the connection to everything.
That's right. And understand that soil is a living matter.
Yes.
It's a living matter. Yeah. And excuse me here.
That's all right.
But as that tomato seed becomes a plant and produces pounds of tomatoes, it also generates thousands of seeds. Thousands of seeds. And that's...
So wait a minute. You telling me we're not supposed to be hungry? Nobody on this earth should be hungry?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely
not. No, I don't believe you. They say we're running out of food.
Well, we live in a society which is a monetary-based society.
Right.
A society that's built on the principles of profit and loss.
Right.
Whereas though...
And greed.
Yeah, well, yeah. And yeah. A lot of farmers are paid or giving extra money to discard, throw away their excess produce. Because the way you increase a price is to make it scarce, and the more you create scarcity, the profitable you'll become, because you can put a higher price tag. Just like pharmaceutical companies, they patent a particular seed or plant as their own,
Monsanto.
Yeah, and others, and then they monopolize off that, or they take control of that form of nature, um, and say because we have complete control over it, we're going to charge a higher percentage on it.
That's right. That's right.
But food, going back to food, food is produced abundantly, and one way to eliminate scarcity is to create food in abundance. So we show that, we teach that through our horticulture program. We also teach how environment shapes behavior through horticulture. And how we do that is that we take a seed, we plant the seed, and we start giving the seed the proper nutrients it needs for it to flourish. But then we start to deprive that plant of certain nutrients, water, sunlight, fertilizers, and we start looking at
Sound like urban cities.
absolutely, and we start looking at how when you restrict certain elements from certain resources that need to survive and thrive, then you start seeing the conditions that you create from that, or that is created from that environment.
Right.
So, and then we start asking the questions, what's needed for a plant to thrive? Water, you need sun, you need healthy soil. You need all these different elements, and you want to make sure that you have that right environment for that particular seed, that particular plant. Because you can't, a tomato plant requires a totally different care, from a cucumber, and it goes on and on and on, So we let them know that just as delicate as it is to raise a plant, it's far more complex to raise a human being.
Wow.
Because you need all of these elements to play a part in cultivating a human being. So, and some of our friends who are also farmers, they call it cultivating the mind.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely right. So, horticulture is definitely a very significant program because not only do we help transform vacant space into some green space, enjoyable green space, we also introduce a lot of hands-on educational programs into that as well. Eco art, again, is a big one. Clean renewable energy, how to create electricity from natural elements and store that electricity. And then nutrition, wellness and nutrition education, where I partner up with, and particularly a young lady that I'm really good friends with. Her name is Charlene Mesa. I've helped her establish her nonprofit called Elegant Bouquet Kitchen, where together we've developed programs around food science, where we teach people how to make nutritious meals, how to read labels, and she even took it a step further. She has a social etiquette program where she teaches table setting, how to dress for that occasion, things of that nature. So it's really important. So a lot of my work that I do is very in collaboration with other serious like-minded people.
I was going to ask that question. Now, the thing that you did at Harvest Table, what arm of the company was that?
Yeah, so...
Which is really good.
Yeah, so in the next coming months, I'll be announcing a division within Newark Science and Sustainability, which we call Sustain /Ability. And this is a division within Newark SAS or Newark Science where we are developing social entrepreneurship projects.
Nice.
Around food production and clean renewable energy. So this actually falls under our sustainability division, where we introduce social entrepreneurship opportunities. How do we create local green economies?
Right. That's the next step.
Yeah, that is the next step. So we'll be announcing that towards the end of the winter, going into the spring of 2016. So we have a number of projects coming out of that as well. So as a nonprofit organization, We just can't grow the organization solely on the help of volunteers. So we realize this, and we can't just only rely on donations and grant writing um, because it really kind of defeats the purpose of being sustainable. So we also want to introduce services and products. We're
Nice.
developing a science and sustainability curriculum. But we do work with a lot of different charter schools, and we just want to, lack of a better word, we want to package some of these things that we're already
No,
doing
you're right.
and present it on a
What you're
professional
doing
level.
is you're branding. You're
Yeah.
branding yourself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
No doubt.
absolutely.
No, no, I mean, this is brand. This is, I love it. You don't just stay in one place, or you don't just stay based on what you've seen others do. You take that knowledge, as you talked about, you bring it in, and then you look at this environment, and you see who you can connect to, and then you create your own product for this environment.
Yep.
It's like molded for this environment.
Exactly.
You can't just take, again, going back, you can't just take a cookie cutter pattern and say, here, we have the solution. Here you go, Newark. Boom. No, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
It takes a person like yourself that has had these experiences, these transcending disciplines, and you can see the vision and where we need to go and where people need help to create the change, and then you step toward that. But at the same time, bringing in revenues, which is very, very important.
It's important.
Because we can't do it for free. And like you said, you can't lean on, you can't follow the other models, because a lot of nonprofits in here, they're just living off the old model.
That's true.
And I won't say no name, but I do research and I see people, a lot of nonprofits, they're not doing anything. They're just doing the same thing they did 3 and 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But they're getting that money and paying people, and so they're in a cycle, and that's not helping people.
No, it's not.
Because we want to be here to help people.
Yeah. So one of the things that Newark SAS or Newark SAS, we are emergent. We are always open.
What's the word you said?
Emergent.
Okay.
We are always open for change, right? And we're ready for it, because we embrace change. And we're looking for ways of how we can do it better, more efficient, and also allow others to learn from what we're doing and become self-sufficient as well. We're not trying to. We don't. Yeah. So first of all, the whole concept of build it and they will come, that's obsolete. So people are still in this mindset that if they create something, people will just run to it.
So the old mouse trap.
Yeah, we bring it.
We
bring it to the community. We're saying make it public, make it known.
That's a new paradigm.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, and that's how we develop a lot of the things that we do.
Engage.
Yes.
And that's what I hear everything that you're saying. It's about engagement.
Yes.
It's about engagement. Same thing, social media. It's about engagement. People want to come, put their hands on it. Going back to what you're saying, they want to see what it. They want to come back again, put their hands on it. What's up, man?
Good.
Yeah.
Peace,
I'll call you later. Yeah. Durrell,
Yeah.
he's a musician. We did an interview a few months ago. But everything you're saying, that you tap right in. Put your hands on. They want to engage. Because once you engage them and pull them in, they'll never leave.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's a group that comes here in this park, a small group that does yoga in the park. And there are people who have no concept of what yoga is, may have wanted to do it, but just figured out like they can't do it for whatever reasons. But when they see it publicly, they begin to process that information.
That's a good point.
They process it. And then at some point in time in their life, if it's something that they even have an interest in it at the moment, or it will resonate with them at a later time.
Or I agree. Or it can even be an innate skill that hasn't been tapped into.
Most of it is just that, It's just that. And that's why I've grown to appreciate the whole public demonstrations.
I like that.
Yeah, I had to really understand the importance and the need for public demonstrations and the rallies, because how I view now public demonstrations and the whole rallying and protesting and all stuff is we are bombarded with images from the moment we wake up, and we take those images with us to our sleep, to our subconscious, and we are guided through our entire day, how we should act, talk, dress, everything. From the moment you turn on the radio, television, step outside, you see billboards. People are shaping your mindset, you know.
Yes.
So I've grown to understand and view public demonstrations and protesting and rallying as this, as social advertisement,
Yes.
where it awakens the social immune system. Now I may
Well,
not
like
know.
that.
I may not
Social
know.
immune system.
Yes, I may not know at that moment in time what the heck is going on.
Right.
I may not even have a solution to what's going on.
Right.
But I am like, wow, it has pulled my attention. Just as the billboard, you know, just
Right.
do it, has pulled my attention. Now this act over here has pulled my attention and has awakened my social immune to say, what in the world is going on over there? So it brings my awareness, it opens my awareness, it pulls my awareness. And that's why I appreciate it. Because then it's people like me can say, now that you know there's an environmental or social or socioeconomic concern, there's a socioeconomic or environmental ill that's going on. Now, me and others want to create solutions to this.
Yes. With your help.
With your help.
And then to me, that's how that taps into the spiritual component of individuals, because that's a very spiritual thing to do.
It is, yeah.
The best for your environment. That's what the Creator wants.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's pulling. When you see the good, when you see that enlightenment. Oh, I thought we were supposed to eat Mickey D's and get the breakfast special on Saturday morning. And Tobias is saying, no, you can make your own vegetables.
Oh, absolutely.
You can come out in the morning and put your hand in the dirt and create your own vegetables. So there's that pull, and it's towards spirituality, because it's the betterment of not only the environment but also of the body, what you eat and how you look.
That's right.
And your energy.
That's right. That's right. And even if you're saying, like, I don't have no interest in creating my own produce, but at least you can become a little more informed to say, well, I may not be able or don't want or have the interest to create my own produce, but now I'm a little more informed to say, I'd rather become a more informed shopper of how I purchase my produce.
And even that's a step. We're pulling you closer. We're pulling you closer. And if that don't get you, once you see them tomatoes going up to $4 and $5 a pound.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's true.
That should get you. And when you realize,
yeah, that's so true.
That's so true. These prices, none of these prices are going down.
Well, no, and food is going to continuously go up until we come to the realization that one, the hoax is food grows.
Say that again. Yeah. It's a hoax.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, food grows in abundance.
Oh, man.
And
I want to see a T-shirt of that.
Yeah, it should be, you know. And again, social advertisement. But you have a place like Washington, the state of Washington, where they are developing a food forest. They're turning a park into a food forest where you can just walk through a park and pick an apple, or pick a fruit. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, because they're beginning to realize local government, and that's the biggest form of activism to me. When you are allowed, when you just say, hey, look, you know, you can just pick it. It's yours.
I mean, how much stress does that take off your head when you know you don't have to go buy Cheerios for $4 or $5 a box, and the boxes are getting smaller?
Yeah.
And you ask me how I know. I don't eat cereal, but when I go shopping, I look and I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Your water, you buy your water for $1.09, and then you notice it stays at $1.09. But then you go home and you look at the container, it's getting smaller.
Smaller and smaller. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
So this is what the artist is doing. It's recreating the world.
Absolutely.
And it's all through this process Tobias talks about. Now, it seems long and elongated, but it's not. No. It's very simple. It goes back to that one seed, understanding that one seed produces abundantly.
So much, yeah, that's right. So I am one seed in the community I live in. You know? So just imagine what happens if this one seed becomes nurtured, you know, and supported within the community.
Wow.
then the whole community gets a benefit from the fruits of just
Everything changes.
absolutely.
The whole world looks different. And trust me, when you got food and you know it's in abundance, and you don't have to worry about. Oh, we can go on and on back and forth on this. I mean, it's a big issue. It's a major issue.
It is. So the future of energy, from food production to creating electricity, it is going to be, and it is going to be because our society is going to demand it. It's going to be localized, where we're going to have local energy parks where energy is created within cities. These huge power plants are going to become dismantled because it's going to be because the cost of just delivering energy is going to be astronomical in years to come. You know, it's going to be astronomical, so they're going to have to localize it. So what I do is try to introduce that now.
Yes.
Let's start doing it now. Let's not wait to the next, Hurricane Sandy or the next global oil crisis.
Or even
for some
mogul that's outside of the local area to create.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a mogul right here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say mogul, I'm saying in the sense that you have the understanding, you have the science. Just you see this YouTube, just come aboard.
Yeah.
Follow him. And where can they follow you?
Oh yeah, so definitely. So we have a website at SAS Global. That's GLOCAL. So that's SASglobal.com. Again, SASGlocal.com. And then once they log onto the website, we have links to our social media pages. Facebook, we're on Facebook. You can look us on Facebook. It's Sustain Newark is our Facebook page, and we're on Twitter. And I mean, if you go to the website, you'll see the social links, and you can follow us there. And then you can just email us and get involved. We are beginning to branch out into Jersey City and Union City, and we want to just create. One of the things I try to help people understand is that Newark SAS was birthed out of a social movement.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
And we are still, we see ourselves as a social organization.
So powerful.
And we are spreading this social movement.
So powerful.
Of localizing energy, food production, environmental concerns and issues. So we want to create chapters in different cities. We want to create a Jersey City Science and Sustainability, Patterson Science and Sustainability. We want to create, because we think that there should be an SAS chapter, Science and Sustainability chapter, everywhere.
That's how it's done.
Everywhere. So, and then we can begin to share our resources, share our information, begin to help each other
and
create,
build.
And build self-sustaining communities.
And I just wanted to add, when we talked about this yesterday, you came out of a social movement.
Absolutely.
And now you're creating another piece of a social media movement with other elements.
That's right.
That it's looking to expand. And I was saying to you how important these social movements are, because Occupy, Occupy?
Which one? Wall Street?
Yeah, Wall Street. Mm-hmm. Happened back in 2011.
Yeah, it did.
But now here you are in 2015.
That's right.
Building off of that social movement. And this social movement, I'm saying the same thing. But what I'm saying is this movement that you're doing is going to create for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need to understand the importance of like this moment right here. When you hear this information, that it's time. Because a lot of us already know it innately that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. You know something's wrong with mass culture. This is part of the solution, a very big part of the solution. But the answer is in you coming aboard.
Yeah.
To help.
Yeah.
Because we need everybody's energy.
Yeah, we do.
Everybody's perspective.
We do. Especially those who are, especially those professionals who have these skills, man. And a lot of times they're just frustrated because they have projects in mind they can't get off the ground. But
excellent.
But we
Excellent
create the community. We create the community for them. So, I mean, I would love for your viewers
Tobias goes.
For your viewers to definitely support. Log on to the website again, SAS Global, that's glocal.com, sasglobal.com. And again, there's a phone number on there you can call. There's links to social media as well. And you can email me directly from there as well.
These good people.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate the talk, man. I really do. I appreciate it.
Check them out. The real deal.